and feel free to say whatever you want to say. First question is, what stands out the most about World War I?
Well, I can't say too much about anything that way, for I didn't get to go across. The flu stopped me. And after that, after they transferred me to a U.S. General Hospital down in North Carolina, U.S. General Hospital number 19 at Otine, North Carolina. And I stayed down there the rest of the time then.
Okay, but you told me that some buddies of yours did get to go.
Yeah, my company went off and left me. And two of my best friends didn't get back.
Yeah.
Boys I was raised with.
Where did they get it?
I don't know. They was just exactly whereabouts they was at when they got put away. They shipped one of them back, but they couldn't find the other one.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What was your biggest memory in the service?
Well, I don't know. I had the flu, and I thought I was just about dead. I guess they thought I had TB, so they sent me down to North Carolina TB hospital.
Yeah. Nice nurses down there?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty nurses?
Oh, there was a bunch of nurses there. But the boys was coming back from France gassed.
Yeah.
That's what they was building. They were just building that hospital. And I got transferred into the quartermaster corps, the utility department. I didn't do nothing but sit in the tool room. That's all I done.
Before you got the flu, what kind of training did you get?
I went through regular military infantry training, gas chambers and all.
Yeah. Where was that?
At Camp Lee, Virginia.
Camp Lee?
Uh-huh.
Did you learn a lot in basic?
Oh, yeah. I still remember a lot of it.
Well, about the guns or?
Oh, yeah. We just had rifles. We were in infantry, and we didn't have no large artillery with us. That was a different outfit. And
the way you were raised as a child, did that have a bearing on you wanting to join the service?
Well, I don't know whether it did or not. My father was a Civil War veteran, and it might have had some bearing on me.
Yeah.
I can't say that it did or didn't.
Yeah. What did you think when America was talking about going to war? What went through your mind?
Well, I wasn't paying too much attention to it then, for I was working in the coal mines. But after the war was declared, I came back out of the mines, went in the army. I was ready for the draft, but I didn't know whether I was called up on the draft or not. So I called the draft board and asked them if I was called. They said no. I asked them how about coming in and going with the boys. They said come right ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with a bunch of the boys that I knew.
Yeah.
And we all went practically together till the company went off and left me.
Yeah. You think you were a different person after the war?
Well, I don't know if there was so much of them, much more different.
Think you grew up a little bit?
Well, yes, growed up maybe and got settled down.
There were, of course, later wars, World War II and Korea and Vietnam.
Oh, yeah. I was in the coal mines at that time, and I tried to enlist. I went to Charleston to enlist, and they wouldn't take me because I was a coal miner. Said they needed the coal worse than they needed me.
What did you think? I mean, you said, here we go again, another war.
Yes, that's what I said. Here we go again. We're going to lose a lot of boys.
Yeah.
I said that on this last war, too, but we got by without too many.
Yeah. You have any memories of the Spanish-American War?
No, No, I was too far back.
Tell me a little bit about your dad in the Civil War.
Well, I don't know too much, for I was real small, but I've heard him talk about it a good bit. He fought in the Antietam battle and the Gettysburg both. And I heard him talk the same things that they told over the TV, that you could walk across the Antietam battlefield on dead bodies and never stop on the ground. And I heard him tell that, and they told the same thing over the TV when they were showing those Civil War battles.
Was your dad injured? Did he get shot?
He got one wound to the calf of his leg.
So, pretty lucky.
He was lucky.
What'd your dad do?
Well, I don't know just exactly what he done.
I mean, before the war, I mean, what?
Oh, he was a sawmill man.
Sawmill?
Uh-huh.
You know what unit he was in?
No, I don't. I don't even know what unit he was in. He fit for the North.
Yeah, good. What do you think about Operation Desert Storm?
I don't think much of it. I think they should have went on and finished it up.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go back at it again.
I think they only did half the job.
They just done half of the job.
Tell me a little bit, if you could, about growing up in West Virginia
Well,
before the war.
I grew up practically on a farm back in Boone County. And I don't know. I stayed on the farm.
You had brothers or sisters?
Well, there was 14 of us in the family.
14?
Now, my father was married twice. He had 6 children by his first wife and 6 by his second. After father died, mother married again. And she had 2 children with her second husband. And I got one brother now in that nursing home, half brother in the nursing home at Charleston.
Yeah. Keep in touch?
Huh?
Do you keep in touch?
Oh, some, yes. But I can't talk to him. I can't understand him. I hardly ever go. I've been to see him quite several times, but I've been up there for 9 years.
How old is he?
I think he's 82 or 3, something like that. I don't know just exactly how old he is.
How do you feel about the way veterans are treated nowadays?
Well, I don't know. I don't consider myself any better than the rest of the boys. But I'm not really getting very good treatment here.
Really?
I can say that I've been here 9 years. And I don't know. That's the reason I'm leaving.
Yeah. How were you treated as soon as you came back from the war, or as soon as the war was over?
Well, I went right back to work, practically. Well, I tried to get back to work, but I couldn't find nothing. I was all over the country. I've been in every state east of the Mississippi River and 4 on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, I said, been in every state east of the Mississippi River but 1. That's Maine.
You go up and see George Bush up at his camp.
Yeah.
You think West Virginia? Why do you think West Virginians are so good in war?
Well, I don't know. I can't consider them much better than any of the rest of the wars over the country.
But there's always more of them.
Well, there'd probably be more of them, yeah. But there was an awful lot of, during World War I, there was an awful lot of young people in this state.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd want to say about your military life?
No, I guess not. There's nothing that I can say.
Any regrets?
No, can't say that there is.
That's better than most people.
Yes, I had pretty decent fellows in the service.
Yeah.
After I come out, I couldn't get nothing to do. I run around for 2 or 3 years over the country. Couldn't get nothing to do. Well, I went back in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And stayed in the Marine Corps 3 years.
Which one do you like better?
Well, I like
Be
the Marines.
honest.
I like the Marines pretty good.
Yeah. Was that because it was peacetime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was peacetime.
Where were you in the Marines?
I was just I went to Quantico, Virginia when I enlisted. I didn't go through Paris Island.
Uh-huh.
I went to Quantico, Virginia, and we stayed there most of my enlistment. We were just all over the country. We made a hike from Quantico, Virginia to Lexington up the Shenandoah Valley. The Shenandoah Valley from up to Winchester, from Winchester into Washington back to Quantico. 6 weeks on the road.
That's a lot.
And then the next year we went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And the next year we went to Sharpsburg, Maryland, the Antietam battlefield. We had one of the toughest commanders that ever hit the earth.
Really?
Yeah.
When you were in Gettysburg and Shenandoah and Antietam, did you think about your dad?
Oh, naturally it would.
Yeah. What'd you think about?
Well, I just thought about how he went through the war there.
Tommy told me that you had a poem memorized.
Yes, it's
Go ahead.
it's a Kaiser talked to the devil. You know, Kaiser was the ruler during World War I of Germany. And some sergeant in the army, he wrote up this poem after the war was over. I think the war was over probably when he wrote it up. And it goes something like this. The Kaiser called the devil up on the telephone one day. The girl was central listening to all they had to say. Hello, hello, she heard the Kaiser say. Is old man Satan home? Just tell him it is Kaiser Bill that wants him on the phone. The devil said hello to Bill, and Bill said, how are you? I'm running here a hell on earth, so tell me what to do. What can I do, the devil said, my dear old Kaiser Bill? If there's a thing that I can do to help you, sure I will. The Kaiser said, now listen, I will try to tell the way that I am running on earth and modern hell. I've saved for this for many years, and I've started out to kill. Now it will be a modern job if left to Kaiser Bill. We started out for Paris with the aid of poisonous gas, but the Belgian damned stopped us and they would not let us pass. My Zepp dropped bombs on cities, killing both the old and young, and those the Zeppelin didn't get were taken out and hung. My submarines are devils, why you should see them fight. They go sneaking through the ocean and sink a ship at sight. I was running things to suit me till a year or so ago, when a man called Woodrow Wilson wrote me to go more slow. We've told you for the last time, so dear Bill, it's up to you. Now if you do not stop it, you'll have to fight us too. I did not listen to him, and he's coming after me with 1,000,000 Yankee soldiers from their homes across the sea. Now that is why I called you Satan, for I want advice from you, and I knew that you would tell me just what I ought to do. My dear old Kaiser William, there's not much for me to tell, for the Yanks will make it hotter than I can for you in hell. I'll be ready for your coming, and I'll have the fires all bright. I will have your room all ready when the Yanks begin to fight. For the boys in blue will get you, nothing more to tell, so hang up your phone and get your hat and meet me here in hell.
That's good.
I know I learned that poem when it first come off of the press.
Yeah. Do you have questions? Sure. Are you still rolling?
Yeah. When you were a little boy growing up, did you used to go hunting and things like that?
Oh, goodness, yes. I was back on the farm. I could hunt. Coon hunt, squirrel hunt, rabbit hunt, or anything.
What do you remember most about doing that kind of stuff?
Oh, I would get out and hunt wild hogs, too. People up where I lived, they didn't try to keep their stock turned up. They just turned it out in the woods and let it go. Well, in the fall, they'd go hunt it up. And I've hunted coons, rabbits, squirrels, and everything.
Where'd you learn to hunt from?
Huh?
Where'd you learn to hunt from? Your dad?
No, I didn't. I learned from people that raised me. See, my father died when I was 8 years old. Well, there's 6 of us left in the family. And Mother couldn't take care of us, so she got homes for us. I went to Boone County, up around about 10 miles out of Madison. Stayed there, then I went to work in the mines.
What do you remember most about growing up?
Well, I hardly know, just working on the farm, tending to the stock and stuff. About all you can say.
What do you remember about your dad?
Well, I can remember him pretty well. He was a sawmill man. And I don't even know what he died from.
What kind of personality did he have?
Well, I can't say too much about that, for I was too young. I was only 8 years old.
When you went in the service, did you feel like you were being real patriotic, or were you doing it?
No, I just thought just go along with the rest of the boys and do what they had to do. Help them out.
Did you have any friends you lost in the war?
I had 2 friends lost in the war. Got one of the boys back, but the other one couldn't find him. He was missing.
How'd you feel about that time?
Well, he shook me up pretty well. So we went to school together, and we just had to take it anyway.
Did you feel that the United States was doing the right thing being there in the war?
Well, in one sense of the word, they are, and others are not. I just think let them countries fight it out over there. kill one another, let them kill them.
You didn't want to go over there and kick their butt then.
Huh?
You didn't want to go over there and settle it for them.
No, sir, I don't think. Of course, if they hadn't went over there and stopped him, he tried to take the world. That's the way I think about it. I think that they didn't finish it up, that's what I think. I mean, they should have went on to put him plumb out of there. That ruler.
What about World War I? Did you feel good about that when it was over?
Well, I didn't think too much about it, for I was on the sick list. I didn't think much. I was transferred to a hospital, but I was transferred into the quartermaster utility department, and I didn't do anything then but just sit in the tool room. I had it pretty nice then. Of course, for about 6 weeks, I was a motorcycle dispatcher at it.
What do you remember when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Well, I didn't hardly what to think. Anyway, I was listening to the radio when it come over, when the news come out. I have a friend in Washington. She's a full-blooded Japanese. She married a lieutenant in the Navy. When she married, her people kicked her out. Told her never to set her foot back inside of their home. Well, they sent her up to the West Coast when she was come to the United States from wherever she was married. And then she, when the war was declared, they shipped all the Japanese east. And so she went to work for the government. She had an extra good education, but she was married when she was about 14 years old. And so I don't know. Her husband was in Pearl Harbor when the bomb Pearl Harbor. He got killed. Then she come to Washington. She went to Washington and married again up there. Married a World War II veteran.
If you had to do it all over again, you'd go back and...
Well, if I was young, I'd go do the same thing I'd done before. I'd go right with the boys.
And you were saying earlier you had family, grandchildren and such in the service.
Oh God, I got a granddaughter's first sergeant in the Army. I got a grandson's in the Air Force.
Pretty proud of them?
Oh yeah. My granddaughter just got 2 more years till she can retire. I don't know whether she will or not, but...
If you had any advice for a great-grandchild or somebody going into the service or thinking about it, what would you tell them?
Well, I don't know just exactly what I'd tell them. I'd tell them just to use their own judgment about it. That, after they get up that age, well, ain't much you can tell them. They'll do as they please pretty much anyway.
Nope. Well, thanks a lot for talking to us.
Wait, the mic off. Get his mic.
Okay.
Get his mic. Hold a second.
I'm the oldest ex-Marine in the state of West Virginia.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You feeling pretty good about that?
Yeah. That comes straight from Washington, too.
I see you got a Marine hat, don't you?
Yes, sir. I belong to the Marine Corps League. I belonged to the American Legion for 52 years.
Harper, what stands out the most in your mind about World War I?
Well, what the most is the time it has existed between now and then, and the changes that came in the world.
For example, like what?
Well, like the changes that's been done in Europe, Russia, and different things like that.
Okay. What was your most memorable moment in the war? Good or bad?
Well, the most memory was when I was in the hospital, and the news come that I was to be checked out the following day, and the news come that war had stopped. That was
Where were you?
and I was in old France in the hospital, southern France.
Now, you were in the hospital because you were gassed?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I was severely gassed and developed pneumonia fever. And the hospital was so crowded that I was in the basement for 2 or 3 days before they got me up into the hospital. And I dreamed but my mother brought me a drink of water.
Is that right?
And it was after that she spoke to me and she said, "Don't worry, you're coming home." And after that, I had no fear. I thought I would come home.
You stand up a little bit. You can sit on that.
You can just sort of, yeah, stand right there.
All right, I'm good.
That'll be fine.
Before you were gassed, what was your job?
I was a machine gunner.
Infantry?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of marching around. Did you see a lot of France?
Pardon?
Did you see a lot of France?
Oh yeah. We was quite a bit in France. We went from Calais, France, from Brest, France, by train to Calais, France. It's 3 days and nights on one of those frog trains.
Why did you participate in the war? Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was to be drafted, but the 80th Division was made up about a year before this time, and they needed some replacements, so they asked a bunch of us to come in, and so I went on in because would be drafted anyway.
Did you know any other West Virginians that were in the service with you?
No, after we was in the outgoing force. There was a couple of boys from West Virginia, Homer Gano and Cook Boy, and so they were in artillery, and I went over in the forest where they was digging gun pits and visited them. Slipped up on them. They didn't know I was there. They didn't know.
Yeah. Do you think you were a different person after you got back from the war?
Oh yeah.
How?
Well, I'd saw a lot of the world, and I learned discipline, and I learned, how to take care of yourself, and up and training in the morning and early. It does a lot for you.
So you kind of grew up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember any of the people that served in the Spanish-American War?
Any what?
Did you know anybody that was in the Spanish-American War?
No.
No. Okay. Where were you when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
I was over here in the barber shop.
No, not this one.
Well, that's okay. Okay, but you were getting a haircut?
I was working over there.
Oh, working over there.
Yeah, I barbered there.
And you heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Tell them again about Pearl Harbor.
About Pearl Harbor?
Well, I've got that backwards. That's wrong.
Okay.
I was up in Wyoming County when I heard it. I was sitting home on Sunday evening, and a woman came in, knocked on the door, and she came in. She was crying, and I asked her what's wrong. She said, "Oh, my son, he's in the service." I said, "Where is he at?" And she said, "He's down in North Carolina." I said, "Well, he's pretty safe."
Yeah.
What about this war that we just had over in the Mideast? Desert Storm. What do you
Oh,
think about that?
I think it was great that they got along like they did, and but I don't think I think that should have been finished. I don't think they should have let him go on like he was.
So they only did half a job?
About half a job.
Okay. What was it like growing up in West Virginia before the First World War? You know, when you were a kid, what was it like growing up?
Well, it was tough back in those days. We had a kind of a hillside farm, and we always had plenty to eat because we raised what we eat. And my dad, he was worked away all the time, and it was always a job.
Yeah. How do you feel about the way veterans are treated nowadays?
Well, I don't think there's a lot of things they could do for them. For instance, they'll work and they'll give you hearing aids, they'll do anything, but they won't work on your teeth. And the veterans needs their teeth because they need, as long as they live, they've got to eat and chew.
Yeah, good point. How were you treated when you returned from France?
Well, I was treated fairly good. I got $60 and thought I was rich. And but I was ashamed to come home with the uniform I had, so I bought me one.
Why? Because it was old,
Yeah,
torn up?
all wrinkled up.
Yeah. There were a lot of West Virginians that fought in a lot of wars. Why do you think that is?
I don't know what General Pershing said, if you give me men from West Virginia, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, I can whip the world.
That was Pershing?
General Pershing.
Why do you think he said that?
Well, because they had been raised up with guns in our hands, and we knew how to use them, and we didn't have to have so much training.
And they were stubborn.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd want to say about your service or your life?
Well, I want to say that I've had wonderful health, and I've enjoyed life, and I've enjoyed the most loveliest woman in the world. She's been great. And Kentucky, I want to say Kentucky puts out good women. Give them a boost.
All right. Would you change anything? If you could go back and change anything, would you?
Well, if I'd go back to war again, I tried to get back in on the second war in the Navy, but they wouldn't take me.
Why not?
I had asthma at that time.
Was that because of the gas?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a question or two?
But why do you think West Virginians are so patriotic?
Pardon?
Why do you think West Virginians are so patriotic?
I think it's the way you were raised. You're raised to have respect for the flag and respect for your government, and that's what I think goes farther than the other thing. And you're from a kid up, you're taught to obey your parents and to go to church and live by the golden rule. And I don't think that West Virginia, which says on the flag, "Don't tramp on me," I think that's why we like to go.
I got everything.
Is there anything about any of the other wars that you've seen since World War I that really stands out, that you either admire or that bothers you?
No, I don't think so.
Can't think of anything else.
No, I can't. Oh, what about combat? Do you see some combat?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Tell us about combat. What it was like being there in the trenches or wherever.
Well, it's a terrible life. You're living in mud, and you stay in mud till sometimes your feet. You had trench feet, and your feet would even crack open, and you'd go for weeks without changing shoes or socks, and the cooties would eat you up. They make your sore around your stomach. You take a trench where the Germans evacuate one trench, and we'd take it the next time, and then we full of cooties, and it made a pretty terrible life to live.
What, were you scared of the enemy?
Oh, you're always scared.
Describe how people were acting when you went to sign up. Were they really worried, or were they proud to do this?
All happy. They seemed to be a very happy bunch. When we went to Camp Lee, everybody seemed to be happy. And we got busy at Camp Lee and training, and we even got out and dug trenches. And we had a general had been over there, and he was wounded. And so when he came back to train us, he told us, he said, you boys want to take all the training you possibly can get and do it right, because you're going to live in hell when you get to France in the trenches. And he said, I've been there and I know.
Were families real supportive of what you were doing over there?
Pardon?
Were people's families really supportive of what you were doing in the war?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the French was very,
Your family.
very supportive.
But was your family and the family of your friends really behind you?
Oh, yeah. I was the only one out of the family that went. When I went over on the largest ship that ever sailed the seas, the Leviathan. It was a troop ship. It was a cattle ship, and we captured it from Germany, made it into a troop ship. And there was but one place it could land, and that was Pier 7 in New Jersey, West Pier 7. And we had about 2,000 or 3,000 troops on it, and it was on there, and I was lost from my bunk 2 days and nights before I got back to my bed. Everybody was lost, and you just sleep on the deck, and you couldn't find your stateroom.
How did you lose your bunk? Was it first come, first served sort of a thing?
Coming out to have chow, and you couldn't get back to it. The sailor would say, you go down hatch 4, and he'd go down over and go down another way, and each one would tell you a different way, so you just forget about it.
What was Paris like when you got there?
I never got in Paris.
Or when you got to France, what was it
When
like?
I got to at France, within 2 hours they put on the bulletin board, within 2 hours we'd see land. We'd been out to sea 8 days. And we were on deck. We saw this water, something going across, looked like a whale. We thought it was a whale. And they started firing immediately, the guns did, because 2 submarines attacked us, waiting for us in the harbor of Brest, France. And they sank one of them, and one of them got away. And when we went on unloaded at Brest, France, and then we go on over to the field hospital where we had chow, and then we went by train from Brest, France to Calais, France, right across from the White Cliffs of Dover. We was there for 2 days and nights.
Did you have any family who served in the Civil War or the Spanish-American War? Did you have anybody in the Civil War, like a grandfather or something?
I had a grandfather in the Civil War, but I don't remember who he was, his name. I heard my dad talk about him.
Do you remember any stories about him?
No.
Well, I think that's about it.
Okay.
Now, do you have any pictures of when you were in the war?
No, they're all burnt up in the fire.
Oh, that's too bad.
You know, there's one thing that I did, that I had, that, but I would give the world if I could get it back. It was a picture to frame. It had a statue on it, little angels around at the bottom. And it said, Private Shoemate was severely gassed in the Argonne Forest on the 26th day of September, 1918. Signed, Woodrow Wilson. And my grandson burned it up, and I can't get it replaced. It was an honor roll picture, and it was signed. It said, Private Shoemate was severely gassed on the Argonne Forest on the 26th day of September. Signed, Woodrow Wilson. His own personal handwriting.
Here's his Purple Heart.
Oh. You want to get it?
Yeah, you can shoot.